Welcome to your second stimulus check and stimulus package update. Hope you are staying safe and I hope you are doing well today. In today's update, we're going to unpack all the major details, the latest news on the stimulus package. Basically, going over where things currently stand with the next stimulus check and the next stimulus package. So, if you've been following these updates, you know that Congress has started the stimulus negotiations, the stimulus talks are back on. And right now, there are a couple of proposals on the table that they've been talking about. And in today's update, we'll go through what House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is currently saying about the packages on the table, including the new one that we are seeing from the White House, or that we just saw from the White House yesterday. Then we'll talk about what Senate Leader Mitch McConnell has to say about the stimulus packages as well. But before we dive in, as usual, I'd like to kick this off on a good note. So, the message that I have for someone out there who needs to hear this is when you can't find the sunshine, be the sunshine. So, regardless of how things are going in your life today, you want to make sure you maintain a positive attitude. So, be the sunshine when you can't find the sunshine. Okay, one more thing. If you support a second stimulus check to struggling Americans, be sure to smash the like button. And while we're at it, if you have not subscribed yet, or if this is your first time stopping by this channel, welcome. Consider subscribing now to join this amazing community to stay informed on the latest stimulus updates, economic updates, and financial tips for your financial wellness. Thank you. Okay, so according to this report from CNBC, this is a very interesting report and an exciting news at that. But then there happens to be a few twists to this report. So Senate Leader Mitch McConnell has backed off the demand for liability protection in the stimulus negotiations. So this is big news because if you've been following these updates, you already know that Mitch McConnell has been sticking to the liability protection for businesses. So finally, Mitch McConnell says he wants Congress to pass a stimulus bill that doesn't have the liability protection for business. So this is the protection that prevents businesses from getting sued for pandemic related issues. So he doesn't want to include that anymore, but he has a condition. He says if you don't include the liability protections, you are not going to include any funding for states and local governments. So it's like you take away one thing, but you introduce a new problem. That's exactly what this feels like. So the stimulus negotiations kind of took a different turn after Mitch McConnell made this statement, and it's really interesting. According to CNBC, this is what Mitch McConnell said, and I quote, "What I recommend is we set aside liability and set aside state and local and pass those things that we can agree on, knowing full well we'll be back at this after the first of the year." So again, he's talking about during the transition. So he wants the liability protections to be taken away, and also the state and local government funding, which is very critical at this point in time from reports out there. States and local governments, a lot of states and local governments are crying out for more funding. They're crying out for more money, but Mitch McConnell wants this taken off so that he can also get the liability protections. Okay, so how did House Speaker Nancy Pelosi react to this? Here's a report from House Speaker Nancy Pelosi on how she took this very approach from Mitch McConnell. So, according to Nancy Pelosi's statement, and I quote, "Leader McConnell's efforts to undermine good faith bipartisan negotiations are appalling." Then she goes on to say, "What does Leader McConnell have against our heroes, our healthcare workers, our first responders, and other frontline workers that have risked their lives to save lives? Now, Leader McConnell wants them to lose their jobs and our constituents to lose their essential services they provide. With vaccine distribution being administered by states, state and local funding is central to our efforts to crush the virus." Remember, a lot of states have said if they don't get any funding, they'll be laying off massive amounts of workers or they'll be cutting pay. So lack of funding to states and local governments will impact people who work for the state and impact the ability to distribute the vaccine, according to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, because the states are the ones who will ultimately distribute this vaccine. And then she goes on to say that the bipartisan negotiations involving senators and members of the House have made good progress and must be allowed to proceed without Leader McConnell's obstruction. So House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is not finding this funny, and she believes that Mitch McConnell needs to steer clear, just stay away from the negotiations that are going on right now. She feels like he's obstructing that, and I want to hear from you on your thoughts about Mitch McConnell's statement in the comment section below. Do you think funding for states and local governments should be taken away in lieu of getting rid of the liability protection in the next stimulus package? Let me know in the comment section below. So right now, other groups of lawmakers are calling for a second stimulus check. So some group of Democratic lawmakers are calling for the $1,200 second stimulus checks to be included in the next stimulus package. And a GOP lawmaker that has been vocal about this is Senator Josh Hawley. So Josh Hawley has said that for any stimulus bill to go through, it has to include, or to get his vote, it has to include the second $1,200 stimulus checks. And right now, none of these proposals on the table have the second $1,200 stimulus checks. So speaking of new proposals, the White House yesterday made a surprising move. Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin unveiled a new stimulus plan from the White House. And this is a $916 billion stimulus proposal. But, another but, here's the deal. This plan from the White House doesn't seem to sit well with House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and many other people, not just Nancy Pelosi. Reason being that this plan cuts down the number or the amount that will be given for unemployment payments. So here's the deal. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer both sent out a joint statement on the new White House offer. And I'm going to go over this quickly so you get exactly what they are saying. So according to the statement released, the joint statement, here's what Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer said, and I quote, "While it is progress that Leader McConnell has signed off on the $916 billion offer," let's pause here for a second. So yes, Mitch McConnell supports the $916 billion offer that the White House put forth yesterday, according to Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin. Remember, Mitch McConnell wanted a much lower number, but he seems to have endorsed the $916 billion number. Okay, let's keep going. So while it is progress that leader Mitch McConnell has signed off on a $916 billion offer that is based off of the bipartisan framework, the president's proposal must not be allowed to obstruct the bipartisan congressional talks that are underway. Members of the House and Senate have been engaged in good faith negotiations and continue to make progress. The bipartisan talks are the best hope for a bipartisan solution. The president's proposal starts by cutting the unemployment insurance proposal being discussed by bipartisan members of the House and Senate from $180 billion to $40 billion. That is unacceptable. So the Democrats, led by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, believe that the proposal or the plan to cut the unemployment benefit by the White House is not acceptable because the number the White House has right now in their $916 billion stimulus plan is $40 billion, which is less than 25% of the bipartisan stimulus proposal that we saw a few days ago. So again, I want to know your thoughts about this in the comment section below. Right now, there seems to be multiple things going on with the stimulus package. But the goal for lawmakers is still to pass the stimulus package before the end of the year. So they want to pass the next stimulus bill in conjunction with the government spending bill. So right now the push is to get things in place and get as much as they can squeeze in and agree upon in the next government spending. So this proposal from the White House still includes the liability protection for businesses, which is something that Mitch McConnell said he will back off of. Again, let me know your thoughts about this in the comment section below. While we wait for Congress to finalize the next stimulus package, you may have to pick up a side hustle or side gig to get some cash or make some extra money from home. Be sure to check out the video on the left to discover the one-of-a-kind website that pays you hundreds to thousands of dollars to just read out loud. This is a free, simple, and exclusive side hustle, and in this video, you'll discover the step-by-step process to get started today. And if you want the best-kept secret to increase your credit score fast, check out the video on the right. Don't forget to help others find this video quicker by liking this video and sharing it. And also, be sure to subscribe now as we track the latest progress on the next stimulus package. See you in the next update. Be safe and thank you for watching.